pick him, but he's super simplistic, and the hitbox on his arrow is relatively easy to actually connect with. It's not as difficult as some other things in the game. So if you haven't played Varus, I would totally recommend just going and playing him. He might be a little bit awkward until you get your tier, but once you complete that, it is literally just free LO. And then because of the super long range, and because of, now I know that I said earlier that tilt isn't really factored in, but we have to include it for this aspect. At 30-40 minutes, imagine that Diamond players or Platinum players are doing a dance. Whether it's in front of a tower, in front of Dragon, in front of Baron or something. The 1625 range can easily hit someone, and then the same way that if there are 5 people that are uncoordinated, okay, there's no duos, they're not on TeamSpeak, etc. Someone could end up taking a hit that doesn't technically bring them out of the fight, but they don't know it. Or 2 of their teammates think that they're out of the fight, even if that person that got hit doesn't think that they're out of the fight. So it ends up causing a lot of turbulence, basically, for the enemy team during their dance. And Varus is just very oppressive, and he can really basically force people to tilt into you. And that's why he's so good, because he's so safe. So it's nice. His range is just, it's too obnoxious, and a lot of people are going to end up complaining about it. Especially because of the way that he itemizes, he basically gets a lot of epic items, which means that he can accelerate and have a lot faster wake-ups. So he's really good. Okay. Why does Zin only show up? See, I know that I get a lot of dislikes on the video because there's one-trick ponies that are very mad that their champion isn't, you know, they're not anywhere on the tier. Why is, you know, Gnar not in Platinum?
Away with you in the backseat of my car. We're timeless, sailing through, but tonight, no, we can't go far. And I know it cannot last, but at last I can finally breathe. And I know it cannot last, but at last I can finally see.
This is my path.
empty and unguided. I'm blind leading chase. Thought I had a plan with you and me. Wasn't there enough my own dream, breaking me down to my knees. We could be holding up our life. We could be fighting for what's right. We could be falling to pieces.
This is my path.
Under the bridge of fire burns. Somewhere the pages start to turn, and somebody whispers, I need this. I will do anything just to make you see. Don't apologize for taking dreams. Maybe this time will be different. It's only us. It's only us. It's only us. my secrets. We're encouraged like a second skin. The kids are all dying. We're dying to believe again. Run through the open streets. We take what is needed. Young ones, but we live for it, we die for it, we live for forever. Young ones, but we live for it, we live for it, we live for forever. We can dream all night till the sun
This is my path.
Take my hand and we'll go away to a different place. And we hide away, how they always stay. Look up and feel the shame. Something doesn't last again. And just levitate.